Most athletes think becoming 10 times better means training harder, doing more, and chasing perfection. But the real game changer, learning to let go of what you can't control. If you're new here, I'm Sam, a mental performance coach for pro athletes. And every athlete that I've worked with who's made a major breakthrough didn't just improve their skills. They learned where to put their focus. So today, I'm breaking down one of the most powerful mindset tools there is in sport and how mastering it can instantly make you a more confident, consistent athlete. So let's get started. So let's imagine there's a tennis player called Ellie. Talented, hardworking, technically sharp, but her performances are all over the place. Some days she's unbeatable. Other days, she completely unravels. Before matches, she scrolls through player rankings, checking where her opponent sits compared to her. And if they're higher, her confidence drops. But if they're lower, she feels the pressure not to lose. During games, she argues with the umpire over every close call. And when the wind picks up, she starts shaking her head, complaining under her breath. If the ball feels a little flat, it throws her off completely. From the outside, it just looks like frustration. But what's really happening is that Ellie is giving all of her attention to things she can't control. She's living inside what's called the circle of concern, the trap that most athletes fall into. And the more time she spends there, the more her confidence leaks away. Because no matter how talented you are, if your focus is constantly on the things that you can't change, your performance will always feel unstable. Now, Ellie isn't always stuck in that trap. Sometimes she shifts her focus onto things she can impact, at least a little. She tries to play mind games with her opponents, grunting as loud as she can and wildly celebrating big points, hoping to throw them off. Sometimes it works, whereas other times they don't even flinch. She also makes an effort to build good relationships with coaches and tournament officials, hoping it will get her more opportunities. She even tries to hype up her doubles partner before matches to get them in the right headspace. All of these things matter, but they're inside what's called the circle of influence, the space where your actions can influence an outcome, but it's not guaranteed. And while it's smart to spend some time here, most athletes overdo it. They get caught trying to control other people's moods, reactions, or decisions, and end up just draining their energy instead of fueling their own performance. Ellie's learned this the hard way. She spends hours thinking about how to impress her coach or prove herself to national selectors, instead of just putting that same energy into sharpening her serve or her recovery. So even though she's improved a little, she still feels stuck because she hasn't yet learned to live in the one place where real confidence is built and where the best athletes spend most of their time. Eventually, Ellie has a session with a mental performance coach. They talk through everything that she's been worrying about: opponents, coaches, conditions, decisions, and he says something that completely changes her mindset. Ellie, you've been giving your best energy to things you can't control. From now on, you only focus on what you 100% control: your effort, your attitude, your preparation, and your reactions. At first, it sounds too simple, but she decides to give it a go. Before matches, instead of scrolling through rankings, she reviews her game plan and does breathing drills to stay calm. When the wind picks up, she adjusts her targets and focuses on footwork instead of complaining. If there's a bad call, she lets it go immediately and resets onto the next point. Her energy shifts from frustration to focus. And over the next few weeks, everything changes. Her training feels lighter, her confidence grows, and she starts playing her best tennis of the season. By the end of the month, she wins her first tournament of the year. Not because she suddenly became more talented, but because she stopped wasting energy on the uncontrollable. That's the power of the circle of control. The small space where your choices, effort, and mindset live. It's where real confidence is built, consistency is created, and performance becomes predictable. So here's how this all fits together. As we've discussed, there are 3 circles that every athlete lives in, and where you spend your energy decides how consistent, confident, and successful you become. The first and most important is your circle of control. Your effort, your attitude, your preparation, your habits, your recovery, your reactions. This is your foundation. Ideally, around 70% of your energy should go here, because this is where your confidence is built. The more time that you spend here, the more predictable your performances become, because you stop depending on luck or other people's approval. You start stacking the odds in your favor, one controllable at a time. Then you've got your circle of influence, things that you can impact but not control. Your teammates, your coaches, your role in the squad, or even selection decisions. You should look to spend around 20 to 30% of your energy here, depending on your sport. If you play a team sport or you're a captain or leader, you'll naturally spend more time here, motivating others, communicating, creating trust. This circle is still valuable. It's how you build relationships and shape your environment. But you have to know your limits, because influence doesn't mean control. You can try to be the best teammate in the world and instruct them, but there is no guarantee that they will listen to you or take your advice on board. Finally, there's your circle of concern. The things completely outside of your control. The weather, the refs, the crowd, the state of the field, who you're up against that week. Yes, these are often frustrating, annoying, and create a lot of fear, worry, or anxiety. But at the end of the day, no amount of kicking or screaming is going to change them. Your outbursts and your time spent obsessing over these things is just wasted energy. So on paper, you'd think that you should spend 0% of your time here, but that's just not realistic because we're all human, we're not robots at the end of the day. And a little concern actually keeps you hungry. It reminds you that results matter, that you care deeply, and that you're competing for something important. If you never worried about the outcome or the unfair obstacles that get put in the way of it, then you'd lose your edge. You'd stop pushing yourself. So spending around 10% of your time on concerns, that's okay, as long as it fuels you rather than controls you. Hopefully you can see the obvious picture. The more time you spend in control and influence, the more confident and consistent you become. Whereas the more time you spend in concern, the more anxious, reactive, and frustrated you'll feel. Because we all feel most confident when we feel in control. If you have control, you have certainty and predictability. And when things are certain and predictable, you cannot be easily fazed or rattled. So your job as an athlete is simple. Keep dragging your focus back to the circles that actually move you forward. And here's how you actually do this in real life. It all comes down to one simple question. Can I impact this? When you're frustrated, anxious, or not performing how you want, just stop and ask yourself that question. If the answer is yes, it means that the situation falls either inside your circle of control or your circle of influence. And if that's the case, do something about it. Adjust your attitude, change your preparation, communicate better, or take an action that improves the situation, because that's where your power lives. If the answer is no, it's a concern, something outside of your control. And that's your cue to just let it go. Vent for a minute or two if you need to. I get it, we're human, emotions happen, but then commit to freeing your mind from it. And if it's something that's really eating away at you, try this. Write it down. Let your thoughts flow freely on paper. All the frustration, all the worries, everything. Then scrunch it up and throw it away because it's done. You cannot change it and it doesn't deserve another second of your energy. That's how you keep your focus anchored where it matters most. Because the athletes who grow the fastest aren't the ones who never get distracted. They're the ones who always come back to what they can control. So just remember, the moment you stop fighting what's out of your hands, you finally free up the energy to become who you're meant to be as an athlete.